بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى اله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين. We continue our discussion on the book of Tawheed. And we're in the chapter, what chapter are we on? 32. We're in chapter 32. And in chapter 32, we're talking about, or the title of the chapter is the statement of Allah Azza wa Jal, إنما ذلكم الشيطان يخوف أولياءه فلا تخافوهم وخافون إن كنتم مؤمنين. Allah Azza wa Jal mentions Surah Al-Imran. He says, indeed, Shaytan is the one that scares you with his friends. But do not fear them, but fear me if indeed you are believers. And this chapter, and the chapter that came before, is a chapter that's connected to the actions of the heart. There are some actions of the heart that Allah has just commanded us with. And from that actions is fear, that the fear should be only for Him alone. That we should fear Him alone and do not fear other than Him. And the chapter that came before spoke about love. The love of Allah Azza wa Jal. And the scholars mention that for worship to be correct, it has to have 6 things. Remember what we mentioned last time?
There has to be love.
Love. Yes. You have to be love. Meaning that what? If you worship Allah, you don't love Allah. Your worship doesn't count. And what's the second one? Hope. If you worship Allah without hoping in His reward and hoping for His paradise, then your worship is not correct. What's the next one? Fear. If you worship Allah, you don't fear Allah, then your worship is not correct either. Okay, what else? No, we already done the last time. We mentioned 6 things.
Let me go back.
All right? Humility.
Yeah.
All right. If you're arrogant, you can't be angry towards Allah Azza wa Jal. You have to have humility for Allah. Yeah. What else?
Obey and to submit.
Yeah, means to have submission for Allah. To submit internally and externally. To submit to Allah. That's it, right?
No, and then the last one is to magnify Allah.
Ta'zeem, yes. To have magnification for Allah. To have reverence for Allah.
Yeah.
If worship is missing any of this, 6 things in general, then the worship is deficient or may not be existing at all. Like subhanAllah, I've heard a brother saying that when something bad happened to me, I was angry at Allah. Right? That shows that there's no fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. Right?
And no humility.
There's no humility. Now. And there's probably no magnification of Allah.
And no love.
I mean, depending on the situation, depending on the situation, but these are signs of that it deficiency in Iman. So we mentioned last time that the scholars, and quickly just to review because it's important, we are this chapter, just 31, to next few chapters when we're talking about the actions of the heart. It's going to be talking about the actions of the heart. So last chapter, the scholars mentioned there are 3 types of love. The first one is the love of Allah. To love Allah. The second is to love for the sake of Allah. And the third is to love with Allah. To love Allah, the first one. To love for the sake of Allah. What do we love for the sake of Allah?
Like,
Each other.
yeah.
We love the believers. We love the messengers. We love what, we love things that Allah loves, right? These are for the sake of Allah. And the third one is the love with Allah. This love with Allah is divided to 4 categories. It's love to love in 4 categories. This love, first category is the one that to love, the love of worship. This includes the ones that we mentioned. To love, we mentioned 6 things that we mentioned the first time, right? Those 6 things we mentioned. Yeah. For a person to have these 6 things for other than Allah. Right? The love and hope and manipulation, all of these things, these 6 things, to have it for other than Allah. This is the love of worship. Giving the these 6 things to other than Allah is love of worship. Then you have the second one is to love. Is to love to love a person, or to love a person, to love a what's the word? Let me remember that what is said about that.
Is it to love what Allah hates, or?
Nah, that's one of them. Yeah. Nah, to love what Allah hates. Nah. And yuhibbu ma yubghidu Allah. To love what Allah hates. That a person love what Allah, for example, a person love zina, or love drinking alcohol, or love homosexuality. This is, even though this love, the first love is shirk, no doubt. Right? To love with Allah, with this thing is shirk. The second one is to love what Allah hates. Right? This kind of love, if it's connected to shirk, then it's like the first category we mentioned. But if it's less than that, if it's just to love sins, then this is this is major sins, heavy, right? It's a major sins. Then you have to love the one who disobey Allah. To love who disobey Allah. And to love the musicians, the rappers, to love them. Right? If the love of the one who disobey Allah, if the person is a kafir, to love him for his kufr, then this is for a person to love a person for his kufr. Right? That's the one Sheikh Sulaiman Rahili mentioned. The example of that is to love a person, to love a kafir because he's free. I love him because he's free. He's able to do whatever he wants to do. Right? This kind of love is kufr. Because you love him because you disobey Allah Azza wa Jal. Like, this is love that's down.
It would be the same, like, for a Muslim to love a musician because of the music, right?
No, that's for sin.
Oh, sin. Okay.
Right. That's for sin. And we'll get to that inshallah. The person love a kafir because he's able to do whatever he wants to do. Right? He love to say he's free, like Sheikh mentioned. Right? You love him because he's free to do whatever he wants to do. Right? It's outside the obedience of Allah. Outside the obedience of Allah, this is kufr. This is not permissible. The second one is a person to love him because of his sins that he commits. This also is haram as well too. It's not shirk, but it's major sins. Right? And now, the third is to love him. Right? Not to love him. It has nothing to do with, the third one is to love him not because of kufr or because of his sins, but because he knows how to do something good. And Sheikh might give an example that a person who knows how to play basketball is a good basketball player. So you love him because he's a good basketball player. This kind of love also is haram. Because why? Because this love leads you to loving him. Right? If you start loving him because he's a good basketball player, you might eventually going to love him
For the other stuff.
for other stuff, right? Love him for other stuff. So this is a love that can lead to other things, and it's haram because of that. And the fourth one is to love him. To love him because of a kafir who does something for you. And Sheikh gave an example of that. Example of that is to love a kafir because he did something good for you. Mm-hmm. And Sheikh gave an example of that, like a kafir doctor who saved your father, for example, right? You love him, the love that you have, you're so happy that he was able to help, cure, Allah uses as a means to help you, the father to be ill. From that aspect, you were happy that he, there's a love that's connected there. Mm-hmm. And the Sheikh says that as long as that's when it's permissible, as long as you hate him for the other part, which is that is a kafir.
Yeah.
Right? So this is what is connected to that, to the type of love. So inshallah, this is generally what the love is about. Mm-hmm. And of course, we mentioned other things, and we're not going to spend too much time, but inshallah, these kind of things are the things that we deal in the society that we're in. You have a co-worker, right, who's so nice to you. People don't know how to differentiate, how to carry, how to deal with love, use love in terms of when they regard, right? And it's important to understand this kind of stuff because you have maybe a teacher, all right, or a friend that you know from Jahiliyyah that you still deal with, right? How do you carry your heart towards him? Mm-hmm. Do you love him in absolute sense, or you love him important, you categorize it. Yeah, you know how to love in that regard. Type. So that is connected to love. And now the chapter we're talking about fear. The scholars mentioned that the fear are divided into 3 categories. Fear divided into 3 categories. The first category is called the hidden fear. To have secret fear. This secret fear is a fear where a person, and it's connected to 3 things. The secret fear is connected to 3 things. To fear a person who's absent. A person or thing that is absent. Meaning that what? Whether a person who's far away, right? A person, for example, is in New York and you're here. To fear that person, or to fear a dead person, or to fear a jinn, right? This is a fear, and this fear, it leads you, meaning that, and you believe that this person has a power. He has a supernatural power.
Not just the physical power.
Not the physical power. No, not the physical power.
But that's a type of fear also.
That's the type of fear as well now. But that's not included in this. To believe that this person has a supernatural power, like a person in New York, you believe that this person, if you say something here about him, it can harm you from there. And you're here. Right? Mm-hmm. This kind of fear, that's first aspect of this fear. And the second part of it is that you believe that this person has a supernatural power to harm you. Mm-hmm. And the third part of this kind of fear is that you that this fear leads you to obedience of that person. You do whatever that person wants.
I was going to ask, a person who is like a mafioso or a drug kingpin, mm-hmm. They have a network,
right?
So they threaten you from wherever they are,
right?
Because this happens like in prison all the time,
right? That doesn't fall into that.
That's
not, no, that's not what we're talking about.
You're not fearing that person.
No,
may harm me even though they're over there.
No, I mean,
because they'll use somebody.
Yeah.
To send a message for them.
No, what the power we're talking about, the person. You're talking about physical harm. That's what we're talking about. Essentially, physical harm. Right. But we're talking about a harm because it's a kind of like a supernatural, like a power that is
understood, like somebody, this person's a magician. So
It has a exactly, yeah, like that. That's the kind of we're talking about. It's a secret fear
Gotcha.
where you know, like the Sheikh Suleiman Raheli mentioned that a person in Maghrib, you're talking right now, maybe you're talking to a person, and say, don't say nothing about him. This person is in Maghrib because he has the ability to hear us and he can harm us.
Right.
This is the kind of fear we're talking about,
Yeah.
right? So some people do have this kind of fear.
Here?
Yeah, and people do have that.
No, I know. When I hear some of the examples that the Mashiach use, sometimes it's like they're basing their example on situations like in their locality, like culturally.
No.
Things may happen in a particular thing.
Right.
Because sometimes it's strange to hear, you know, like I don't know anybody who fears somebody has a supernatural power.
Because the reason why is because, you know, things like that they're not very rampant here.
Right.
There's not, you know, of course, magicians are known, but it's not something that people worry about all the time here. Right. Places like, I'm not going to mention the names of some of the countries, but these things are
real,
very real.
I get it.
Right? They're real.
No.
So even though it's not known here, right? It's still something that we need to know about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that when you, subhanAllah,
If you happen to come across,
if you have to come across it, you know how to deal with a situation like that.
Yeah.
So it's very important. So the Sheikh mentioned that the first is that you fear something, right? That thing is absent, and you believe that this thing has a supernatural power, and you believe that and this leads you to be able to obey, to give that thing whatever he wants.
Right.
This is subhanAllah, those who do magic or are involved in those black magic, they are very involved in this because they're very scared. They're afraid. Right? And sometimes when you go to their magician, they say that somebody wants to harm you. For you to be able to prevent this harm, you have to give this jinn, this and such and such. Right? And this falls into that. Even though it's, like I said, even though it's not something known that in places like America here, right? And I'm sure in some places,
I was going to say it may be becoming because of all of the migration that takes place.
Nah, even places like Louisiana, for example, those places will be known. And places like country like Haiti, will be
very much
very known over there. You know, here it's not very.
But to your point, you got people coming from the Far East, you got people coming from Africa, you got people coming from these countries where a lot of this sihr is practiced. And they come here and they set up here.
Right.
So they may bring some of that mindset with them, and so it can take place here.
So that is the first type of fear. But this type of fear has to have these three things that we mentioned. The second type of fear is the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is obligatory that we have this. And the third type of fear is to have the fear of the creation. Have the creation of the creation. In the sense that this fear, he makes you to abandon an obligation that Allah has commanded you, or do haram things that Allah make haram for you. Right? This kind of fear is minor shirk. Minor shirk. Right?
Really?
Yeah. So for example, you're afraid of somebody, right? And of course there are some examples that are, that are excluded from this, right? You're afraid of a person, like you're afraid of your boss, for example, right? And you're so afraid of your boss so much that you don't want to go pray when it's time to salah, and you will let the salah pass away. This is not permissible, right? But if you are in your house and they're shooting outside in time for salah, and you want to go to the masjid, no, you stay in your house. You're good, right? This is a real fear, right? But fear of, because you're going to lose your job and things like that, then this fall into minor shirk, all right? So whatever. So the second type of fear is the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, that is obligatory that a believer has that for Allah, right? And the third one is that a person fear of the creation. That the fear of the creation makes a person do that commands a person to do haram or prevents a person from doing what Allah has commanded. This is a minor shirk. Now,
does a person who fear would that fall under somebody who probably fears that their qadr would be altered
By who?
by the person they fear?
That's not permissible because that's with
No,
Allah.
I'm saying, does that fall under that?
No, I'm saying, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And this will even be the major shirk. Because qadar is with Allah Azza wa Jal.
No, but I mean, that supervisor affected my.
You mean in terms of that?
You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, but that definitely fall into that.
Okay.
Because and if it leads you to not doing what Allah has commanded you or doing what Allah has prohibited, you will fall into that now. So the Shaykh, he mentioned the first verse which I just mentioned in Surah Al-Imran verse 175 where Allah said, إنما ذلك الشيطان يخوف أولياءه فلا تخافون وخافون إن كنتم مؤمنين. And Shaytan said, Allah says in Surah Al-Imran, indeed Shaytan is the one that scares you or make you afraid of his friends. But do not fear them, fear me if you are believers. So Sheikh Fawzan, commenting on this verse, he says that Allah is informing us in this verse that from the plot of the enemy of Allah, meaning Shaitan, from the plot of Shaitan is that to scare the believers, to scare the believers with his friends, right? He will scare the believers with his friends. لِأَلَّا يُجَاهِدُهُمْ, so that they don't fight against them, right? Do not strive against them. The kuffar in general, we're supposed to strive against them, right? To the extent of, right? To different levels, right? Even at the local level, we are supposed to make efforts, right? You're always going to find, if you work, you're always going to find someone that's going to oppose you because of your faith, right? I know that for sure because you find people, they will snitch on you if you go and pray. Like, he wants to go and pray. They will tell the boss that, right? But it's upon you to strive against these kind of people, right? To now obey them because they essentially what they're trying to do to you is to put fear in you, right? They may not, they may not know it. They may know it. They may not know it. But upon you is to strive against them. Make it for that you now obey them, right? It may be your boss. It may be your classmates. It may be this and that. They're always going to, do things to put fear in you so that you are not able to practice your deen, right? So Sheikh Salam Ruhaili, that this kind of fear that's mentioned in this verse is a secret fear is mentioned. It can be hidden fear, right? It can be hidden fear, but also it can also mean that it cannot mean a fear that is it can be major shirk and it can be minor depending on what the situation is.
Well, let me ask this: is this hidden? I go to the masjid anyway, but I'm not there. I'm physically there, but here I'm thinking about that.
Say that again?
I'm thinking about my supervisor. Is that hidden fear?
That you're thinking about.
I physically came to the masjid,
right?
But my mind is thinking about my supervisor.
What context is that? Like you disobey the boss anyways? Yeah. No. That means that shows that you are strengthening your faith, and Sheikh is going to mention that. It's a means of you. The more you are able to exercise that, the stronger your faith becomes, right? And the weaker you are not able to do that, the weaker your faith becomes if you can't shake that off.
So it's strength that you actually made the effort to go.
Nah.
But the process is getting over that focus over there.
Exactly. Yeah. The more you do that, the stronger your faith will become, and the more you're not able to do that, the weaker your faith gets.
That was a good breakdown.
So the Sheikh says that is it from the enemy of Allah, Shaitan, is to scare the believers from striving in the cause of Allah. Because the things I've mentioned is striving in the cause of Allah. Going to the masjid, right? Or even now maybe some people work in an environment say you don't want to do Christmas with us, you don't want to hang out with us, and they start making you feel bad, right? They start making you feel bad, like, why are you so strange?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you have the big bus coming around now, and you feel like, oh, and all this can affect you, even in schools, right? Maybe you don't want to participate in some of the things they're doing around this time of the year, right? But you don't make them, don't obey them, because if you obey them, then it can be a minor shirk and major shirk, depending on what the context is. So the Shaykh says, وَأَمَرَنَا أَلَّا نَخَافَهُ وَحْدَهُ وَأَمَرَنَا أَن نَخَافَهُ وَحْدَهُ. He said, he commands us to worship, to fear him alone. لأن هذا هو مقتضى الإيمان, because this necessitates iman. This is the point of iman, to fear him alone. فكلما قوي الإيمان العبد زال خوف الأولياء الشيطان. It's every time the iman of a person becomes stronger, the fear of Shaitan would diminish. It would diminish from his heart. وكلما ضعف إيمانه قوي الخوف منه. And every time his faith becomes weakened, his fear of Shaitan becomes stronger. Sheikh mentioned from the benefit of this verse, أن الخوف إبادة يجب إخلاصه لله. It says that from the benefit of this verse is that fear is worship. And of course, I forgot to mention one of the others. There's also natural fear as well too. I forgot to mention that, which is a fear of animals. This is a natural fear, right? That doesn't fall into that category.
Something natural that happens, like a tornado.
Tornado, kind of lion, tiger. This doesn't fall into the category we're talking about. So he says, أن الخوف العبادة يجب إخلاصه لله. That fear is worship. It is obligatory. We singular for Allah alone, right? We singular fear alone for Allah alone. It's أن صرف الخوف لغير الله الشرك كان يخاف من غير الله من الوثن أو طاغوت أن يصيبه بما يكره. It says that just like, for example, that's switching or giving this fear to one another Allah a shirk, like giving it to like the idols and so on and so forth, that so that they don't afflict him with what what he doesn't want, right? And Sheikh, from the benefit of this ayah is at-tahdhir min kayd shaitan, and it's from the plot of Shaitan, one from the plots that Shaitan set up, right? And it comes in different ways. Even it can come to your wife as well too, right? It can be something that happened to your wife. The wife said, if you don't get the house that has a river in it, I'm going to leave you, right? And you're afraid that she's going to leave me if I don't get this thing. That can fall into that too, right? And so on. These are things that we can face on a daily basis that we need to know how to. We need to channel them now. So the Sheikh mentions another verse in Surah Al. You need to go to Shaytan, inshallah, no problem. It says, Allah Azza wa Jalla said in Surah Al-Ankabut, verse, it says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ فَإِذَا أُوذِيَ فِي اللَّهِ جَعَلَ فِتْنَةَ النَّاسِ كَعَذَابِ اللَّهِ. Allah mentioned that from the people who that they say they believe in Allah. They say believe in Allah. فَإِذَا أُوذِيَ فِي اللَّهِ. And if they are afflicted, if they are doing something for the sake of Allah, and they get punished or something happens to them, جَعَلَ فِتْنَةَ النَّاسِ كَعَذَابِ اللَّهِ. They equate the punishment of the people, right, as if Allah is the one that's punishing them. Right? For example, a person, maybe this person has a job, and his boss says, you cannot go to Juma to pray Juma. Right? And you say, I'm going to go anyways. And you went to the Juma, and your boss fired you. And you don't have a job now. Right? You say, oh, Allah is the one that's punishing me because my boss fired me. Right? This is what is wrong, that a person is equating the punishment of the people as if he's the one. Right? Yeah. And this what happened. It make him distance himself from his religion. Right? He's, he probably will say that, no, I can't go to Juma anymore. Yeah. Because, next time I get a job, I'm not going to go to Juma anymore. So he's distancing himself from his deen. So this is similar to what I was saying, that there are some people, they say they believe in Allah, but if they are punished for the sake of Allah, right, they equate that punishment as if Allah is punishing them. And the Sheikh mentioned that this is the people that do not have understanding, that this is either the hypocrite munafiqeen or a person who does not have no understanding of the religion.
Yeah, I was going to say, that seems like a lack of knowledge.
Yeah. It can be both. Because, this verse is connected to, this is connected to the hypocrites. So the Sheikh mentions that from the benefit of this verse, أن الخوف من أذى الناس بسبب الإيمان خوف من غير الله. It says that fearing, that أنا خوف من أذى الناس, that fearing the harm of the people because of the iman of a person, it's not fear from Allah. To fear the punishment of the people, right? People are going to punish me, right? Right? It's not from Allah. This kind of is not from Allah, right? This is not if Allah encourages with you. Allah does not encourage you to fear the people. طيب. So Shaykh says, from the benefit of this, أن وجوب الصبر على الأذى في سبيل الله. It's from the benefit of this verse is to be patient in the face of harm and of difficulty in the cause of Allah. Because you may have to do something for the sake of Allah, but the consequence may be difficult for you. You may have to go through that, right? But know that Allah will give you something better. If you're patient for the sake of Allah, Allah will give something better, right? Yes, maybe a person going to the Jummah and the boss will fire him, right? He has to be patient that Allah will bring something better. Allah will bring something better. Type. What time is it now? 7:16. Type. I think we should be in the line. I think we should stop there because we should stop there because inshallah we don't want to finish this chapter without other brothers not benefiting. So inshallah we'll continue from this point in the next class and we'll complete inshallah. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبي محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.